Hey everybody, Tafadzo from Creative Hub Films here. I'm sorry there wasn't a video last week. This thing of living in the third world, yeah, it's rough. There was no power and it was raining, so even my solar backup was pretty much useless. So yeah. So you finished writing your script, and with a satisfying feeling of accomplishment, you're thinking to yourself, what's next? Shoot the movie, right? Wrong. What you have is a first draft. Now is the time to embrace revision. Too many filmmakers make the mistake of shooting their movie based on the first draft of their screenplay. And to be quite honest, you can usually tell when this happens, like the quality of the storytelling is not at its best. Let me break it down. When you're writing your screenplay, you're in storytelling mode. You spend hours upon hours, if not entire days, just bent over your computer typing and typing away. And what usually happens is that you're tackling your story scene by scene or page by page. And what this causes is that sometimes you may lose sight of the bigger story or the bigger picture. And this doesn't make you a bad writer. This just makes you human. You can't always be thinking bigger picture. This is why it's necessary to revise your script, make notes or get notes, and then write more and more drafts to improve the script. So what is the best way to tackle script revision? Well, there are no hard and fast rules. What I can do is just share with you what I personally do during the revision stage, and maybe you can pick one or two things that will be helpful to you. Now, before we continue with the video, I'd just like to remind everyone that we have a target on this channel to reach 1,000 subscribers. After reaching 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to release my feature film right here on this channel for the whole world to see. So please guys, let your friends know. Share the channel link. Get your friends to subscribe. Get your family members to subscribe. Get anyone you know to subscribe on the channel so we reach 1,000 subscribers. We can do it, guys. I know we can. Read your script out loud. It works. Not only will you get an idea of how your scenes sound or how your script will flow, but you'll also get an idea of how difficult your lines are for the actors, that is. I'll give you an example. In my feature film Nevanji, there's a scene where the two leads visit a traditional healer. Now this is a modern couple, so they normally speak to each other in a mixture of English and Shona, one of our languages here in Zimbabwe. But the character of the traditional healer has to speak in pure Shona, and the couple also has to speak in pure Shona when they interact with the traditional healer. I initially thought this wouldn't be a problem, but as I was reading that scene out loud and realized how tired I was at the end, I knew my actors would kill me. So I rewrote the scene. It was still long as f***. As the writer-director, it's your job to deliver the story to the audience, and part of this is making sure that the actors can give you the performance that you need to do so. When I read my scripts out aloud, I like to set the mood. I try to get the lighting to match the genre of the movie I'm working on. I'll play music in the background that's typical of that genre. And I'm usually isolated. I'm far away from people when I'm doing this exercise of, reading my script out loud. Now I'm a horror guy. So what this means is that if it's the daytime, I'll draw my curtains so that it's nice and dark in the room. Or I'll do the reading at night. I'll play some eerie music in the background. It really helps me get inside the movie. This may sound like some hippy-dippy shit to some of you out there, but hey, it works for me, and maybe for one of you guys it'll work as well. There's no harm in trying it out. Get a second set of eyes on your script. There's a common belief that writing is a loner's game. Well, it isn't really. And the second pair of eyes will go a long way in improving your writing. You could have a friend, a teacher, or a fellow filmmaker take a look at your script. Now, this person has to be willing to give you their honest opinion on what they think about your writing. None of that, oh, it's nice or it's okay type of stuff. No, they really need to get into detail to explain to you what works and what doesn't. Now, you also have to be the kind of person who's willing to take criticism and accept people's opinions of your work. Usually, taking people's opinions of your work really sucks, but I always look at it this way. I'd rather have someone go through my script and tell me, yo dude, your script is trash, rather than they watch my movie at a screening. It's complete, it's edited, everything, it's done, and then the response is, yo dude, your movie is trash. But that's just me. So what are you looking out for when you're revising your script? Show, don't tell. What does this mean? Try to reduce instances of characters saying things or explaining things that you could easily just show with some interesting action. Begin scenes with motion. The word movies refers to moving pictures, so try to incorporate movement in your scenes as much as you can. An easy way to do this is by having characters walk to the place where the scene takes place. For example, if your scene is taking place at a dinner table, you can open the scene by having a character walk into the room and up to the dinner table. Maybe they're bringing salt or some extra food, or they're just joining the dinner. Either way, that little movement makes your scene a little bit more dynamic. Another trick is to incorporate movement within the scene. Aaron Sorkin, a brilliant writer and director in Hollywood, is famous for his scenes where characters walk and talk. His TV show The West Wing is probably the most famous example of this. Let's look at this scene from a short film I directed called The Heist. A husband and wife are arguing in a kitchen, but notice how the wife is busy, doing a lot of stuff, moving from one side of the kitchen to the other. It keeps the scene engaging. Be careful with your characters. One thing to look out for when doing script revisions is characters behaving, well, out of character. Unless events in the story have intentionally messed with them to the point where he is now completely emotional, you can't have your normally stoic and emotionless, almost robot-like main action hero get into a shouting match with one of the other characters. That just doesn't make sense. He's just too cool for that. As you revise your script, keep your character Bible close by and look out for moments where characters behave in a way that's just not consistent with what you've already established them to be. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a video on character Bibles and how to develop them. Arrive late, leave early. This isn't a sexual thing. It's actually a common saying in writing. It means enter your scenes when the action is already underway. Kind of like the point we made earlier on about starting your scenes with motion. Put your audiences in front of the action as it takes place, and as soon as the scene reaches its peak or its climax, get out of there. Show your audience what value is added to the story. What does the character gain or lose in the scene? And once that has been established, move on to the next scene. Keep exposition to a minimum, or avoid it if you can. Like show, don't tell. This piece of advice is about respecting the intelligence of your audience. Trust that your audience is well acquainted with the language of cinema and with the language of the genre of movie you're making. To deduce certain plot lines without having a character blatantly explain things to them or say things out loud which are super obvious. A look from a character, a camera movement, or a lingering shot on a prop can also communicate, as well as someone just saying, "Oh no, the T-Rex is coming." Last but not least, let's talk endings. Most screenplays end happily. Now, you may want to get all fancy and artistic and decide to subvert the audience's expectations, but if we're keeping it 100% real, that is for masters of the craft. Let me put it this way: is your ending just different for the sake of being different, or does it actually do justice to your story? Your ending has to make sense within the world that you've built. Okay, that's all I have for you this week. I won't lie, I felt like I was talking forever and ever. Like my mouth was beginning to get dry at some point there. Next week, we're going to get into the pre-production phase of our movie. We'll be done with script writing and we'll be looking at how to actually break down your script and prepare for shooting.